So this month we're talking about transmutation. It's the 10th step to riches in Think and Grow Rich. There's this quote that really kind of hits at home. So we have it up on the board as well. It says, "It had long since come to my attention that people of accomplishment rarely sat back and let things happen to them. They went out and happened to things." That's by Leonardo da Vinci. Now, what does that mean to you, that they went out and happened to things? Anybody have a...
Yeah, I know for me, like, it takes the 100% accountability of yourself. Instead of playing the victim mindset or anything like that, it's, yeah, everything in my life has happened because of what I've done. And if I want something to happen, there's a very, very small chance that it's just going to come out of the blue. Like probably once, it's like for one person every million years, maybe. But if you actually want something, you got to put it out there. You got to say it. You got to do stuff about it. And everyone who has accomplished something, they've never just sat back and watched videos. They've been out there doing stuff, putting the effort into it. And because of that, it doesn't happen every time, but that's a better chance of having something happen.
I like that. Ian?
I was just thinking, if you're sitting there waiting for your ship to come in, you're going to wait a long time because we're in Utah and there's no ocean anywhere around here. So if you want that ship, you better get to where the ocean is.
Yeah. You better get up and go.
Yeah, you need to do something. It's entropy. Things fall into chaos. Things don't fall into order. If you want something, you need to go create it. No matter what it is, you need to give up something to get where you want to be. If you want to get in shape, you've got to give up time or TV or snacks to go to the gym. You want to get smarter, you've got to give up bad TV for at least better TV or reading or studying.
Right.
If you want to get fat, you've got to get up sleeping so you can eat more. And there's nothing you can achieve without having to give something else up. You have to move towards something. You can't just expect the world to come to you and life may give you lemons, but it's not going to give you lemon, sugar, water, a pitcher, and a strainer.
You go out and get the sugar yourself.
Yeah.
Right. And I like how you said in there, you have to create. You have to go out and create that opportunity for you, right? So in the book, it talks about sex transmutation. And really all it is, transmutation is the movement of energy, right? So just because they use sex transmutation because that's one of the easiest ways to describe it, and most people can wrap their mind around that idea, right? But we're just going to talk about it as transmutation. So transmutation is moving the energy from one place to another. So you're literally deciding, I'm sick of feeling dumb and just watching sitcoms all day. I'm going to turn it over to the National Geographics. Taking that energy and putting it into, I'm going to fill my mind with something a little more worthwhile, right? So us as entrepreneurs, like we've talked about earlier tonight, we can't just sit there and say we want to have a 10-figure business in 2 years and then just sit there and think about it, right? Like, that's not going to do anything. What energy do we need to utilize to get that fire behind us to actually take the steps forward? We've talked about this whole year with the steps in Think and Grow Rich. We've gone through setting goals. We've gone through, at this rate, we've done a couple 90-day sprints, and we're going into our last 90-day sprint of the year. So what do we have to do? What energy do we need to move to get that ball rolling, to go out with our last 90-day goal with a bang? What energy from any aspect in your life are you going to move to make that happen? For myself, I'm going to give up watching an episode of The Bachelorette. No, I think we're on The Bachelor just ended. Anyway, it's The Golden Bachelor now.
It's a TV show, right?
Yes. I'm going to give up watching that because it really does me no good. And I'm going to spend an hour and a half making content and scripts for videos, you know? So I'm going to take that energy and use it somewhere else that I normally would just sit on my butt and do that because I don't even like folding laundry watching the show. So I am taking that energy and putting it into my creative juices for that side of that company. I have a couple questions here. Let's see. So one way, really quick before I ask the questions, one thing to work on in your mind to figure out what energy you want to bring to it. Like, what is your end goal for this 90-day sprint? You need to have those, obviously we've talked about that lots. We need to have those steps in place of how we're going to get there, the accountability. But to really have the energy to use and move forward, you have to have why behind it. So that's part of transmutation. You want to find why you want to select this energy to bring forth this, the fruit of whatever, the fruit of your labor. Because it's a desire, right? You desire to have this end goal. So what energy and what is going to motivate that energy to move to reach that end goal? Okay, so we will email this out to the members, just our little member sheet for transmutation. So it says, how can we recognize and harness the raw energies and passions within our team to drive towards the organizational goals? Kind of wordy. So think about this one for now. And in what ways have you seen unproductive energy or distractions transformed into productive focus within a professional setting? We kind of talked about this. I talked about it, brought it up with my useless time watching Bachelor movies that are garbage TV. But if I can take that, really it's just because I'm avoiding what I need to do, right? That's why I sit there and turn my brain off or whatever. I need to find joy in what I'm doing. Maybe instead of sitting and watching TV and turning my brain off, I can do that in the morning and meditate and let my brain shut off and, relax through my meditation rather than watching junk TV, like where am I going to move that? And then that opens up, because yes, I do meditate and pray, but I usually watch junk TV in the evening. So if I really focus on, letting my brain relax and my subconscious mind just be at ease, then that opens up an hour and a half in the evening where I'd be watching junk TV.
Can I throw just a different perspective in that?
Yeah.
So, talking about transmutation, when I look at it, when they say transmutation of sex, they're talking about a drive,
Yes.
a desire that we have. So I'm going to project onto you for a second there. I'm going to say, you know what? I think one of your desires, one of your drives is to watch The Bachelor or Bachelorette. Seriously, it's something you enjoy, something that you look forward to, and something that you desire to have.
To like sit and watch the show?
Yeah. So if you turn that around and say, my desire actually is to have an hour a day to sit and watch this show, or 2 hours a week, whatever time you have. So what can I do to allow me to sit and watch that? What can I do in my life? So, if I fold laundry while I watch TV. Now I can take my desire for that show and I can transmute that to some daily tasks that I have to do to free up that time so that I can enjoy it. Whenever you're looking at your goals, you know, I set a 90-day sprint. I said I'm going to get a certain number of new clients by the end of the year. Okay, that's not what I want. I want the money that's going to come from those clients. And actually, that's not what I want. What I want is to bring in the money so my wife doesn't feel stressed about working, and I can retire her earlier so she can stop working. So that's my desire. And if I focus on getting clients and set a goal for the number of clients, and I achieve that number, it has nothing to do with my desire, my goal. But if I look at each client and say, this client is going to get me closer to my real desire of retiring my wife,
Yeah.
then I'm taking that energy and I'm moving the energy of what I truly want, and I'm seeing how the steps that I'm taking are going to move me towards that. So now I'm motivated because every time I pick up the phone, I have a possibility of getting a step closer to what I really, really want. So it's moving that energy and turning that energy of your goal into the steps that you're going to take and getting excited about those steps so that you can get to the real goal you want. And not to be crude and to look at just the other guy in the room for this, transmutation of sex, if you really want and that strong desire for sex, it's not that hard to clean the house. It's not that hard to remember to pick up roses on the way home.
Yeah.
It's not hard at all to get some of these things done.
Do it in your wife's
If you-
correct
yeah.
love language.
Right. But
Because I don't care about
yeah.
those.
But
They're not going to get them anywhere.
Yeah. If there's something you really, really desire,
Right.
and you take that desire and move that reward into the steps to get there and say, what can I do so that I can achieve that? And watching that show is probably not your real desire, but it's the feeling of relaxing, it's the feeling of the romantic side of it, or
Not really.
the mystery of it, or whatever it is.
I'll challenge you on the specific show, The Bachelor, because it is trash. But I do value like spending an hour and a half. Ty and I watch SWAT together or different things like. But he doesn't want to sit and watch Bachelor with me. That's literally just my mind-numbing, like useless.
And sometimes,
But it's just anyway. And I get what you're saying.
Anyway, that was my.
Yeah, well, it's like we were talking about earlier with I don't love creating content. I don't love making these videos to publish for my network company. However, I love the idea and the fact that it can bring me the income to pay off my debt really quick. And that's my driving, that's where the energy's going. Because I can see those come down real quick, and I love seeing that number change. And so freeing up my time to create this content and actually do that brings me my end desire of that.
So you're happening to the things around you.
Yes.
Rather than just complaining, I really wish I could work more hours, but there's a 2-hour special of The Bachelor tonight, so I'm just not going to get any content created now.
It's true, exactly.
Instead, you happen to things and you hit record and you save it for later.
Hulu, that's why we pay for Hulu still. Anyway, yes, I love that. I love that. So I'm going to move on to this next question. Because that did tie in really well with the unproductive energy.
Planned.
Yeah. So now it says, can you recall a time when a challenging situation was transmuted into an opportunity? What strategies or mindset shifts were involved? For me, goes back to this whole network marketing that I signed up for, because it really was becoming just an annoyance sitting in the back of my mind that I should be creating. While I've enjoyed the savings it brings, that was never the intent of signing up for me, was just to get savings. So I was annoyed with myself that I wasn't creating content or driven to create to bring in more income for the last little bit. But taking that challenging situation, you know, and I really had to dig deep and find the desire of how was I going to pay off this debt? Because that became a big goal, my husband and I's. Pay off our car, pay off that debt. And seeing that I know that this is lucrative and my efforts will pay off, that drove that negative energy. I was able to turn it into some excitement, and I'm going to be able to do this, you know.
You've probably all heard this story many times in the past of the 3 stone cutters on the side of the road. You're looking at me blank. Okay,
Nope.
So there's these 3 stone cutters along the side of the road. And a man walks by and he goes to the first stone cutter, who's just miserable, sweating, pounding away, just not happy at all. He says, well, what are you doing? He says, well, I'm cutting these stones. He says, okay, and he goes to the second stone cutter, who's doing pretty good. He's working along, not really miserable, not in joy, but he's fairly happy. He says, well, what are you doing? He says, well, you know, I'm earning money so I can pay for food and a place to live for my family. He said, okay. And he goes to the third stone cutter, who is just singing and whistling as he's sweating and working. He says, what are you doing? He says, I'm building a temple for my God. All of them were doing the same task, doing the same amount of effort, working just as hard, receiving the same rewards. But some of those took what their real joy and goal was and took that energy into their work. And the final one, who was building a temple to his God, was able to say, this sweat, this sore hands, tiredness is going to create something beautiful, and I can see that beauty in my mind. And that motivates to take away that hardship you're going through.
Yeah.
You can see that.
He's not self-pity dwelling on his hands aching.
Right.
He's saying, I am working to create this.
Yeah, and we've seen temples that have stood for hundreds and thousands of years and brought joy to people. And I think of this stone cutter would probably be very happy to see his Acropolis or Temple of Zeus still standing there and bringing joy to people. So when you focus on the mundane, the annoyance of customers on the phone, I know Leanna has to deal with, I deal with that sometimes.
Right.
It's like, you know, my pay is not worth it. It's not worth it, all I'm doing here. When you stop and say, I'm helping somebody out. I'm potentially saving somebody's life by giving them the care that they need. I'm providing for myself and my family and those around me. I'm giving myself the opportunity to go see movies and be with friends. When you look at those positive aspects, then the little annoyances that we go through become little annoyances.
Right.
When you look at little annoyances, you never find the joy in the end. So focusing on that end side, the positive of what you're doing and finding some bit of joy in it allows you to overcome the little challenges.
Yeah, I like that. So in here it asks about what strategies we've used to help move along that way, right? So I was thinking of a strategy I'm going to use is, I love charts. And so I'm literally going to make a chart by the computer that says how much I've earned and how much debt that's paid off. And so with my marketing business, online marketing. And so how much has come in and how much debt. So I can see that number changing weekly because I get paid weekly. And so it'll be, I love those quick things that I can visually see, a quick win, and that motivates me to keep going. So being able to see the number come down, our car almost paid off, and that, you know, my income rising and the debt going down, that motivates me and makes me excited to actually go and do it. So that's a strategy for me. So think of strategies. We're kind of running out of time, but strategies that each of you can use in your life to help you stay on track to transmute that energy from wherever it needs to come from in you to be able to reach your end destination. Because we want to go out the year with a bang. And Ian's holding up his
Yeah, I'll come to the camera.
his vision board.
My visual one, yeah, my vision board. I still look at it and say, these are things that motivate me. Some of these are very long-term. Some I have limited control over, and some I have absolute control. But
Right.
I look at this as the bottom line of your chart. And not that I want to give you advice, I would say at the bottom line of your chart, when the car is paid off, put a picture of something you're gonna do when that car
Right.
is paid off.
Yeah,
Whether
I like
it's
that.
dance around the house with pom-poms,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
go out to a fancy restaurant that you've always wanted to go and haven't.
Mine will be
Yeah.
upgrading my car.
Yeah, the next car you're gonna get, have a
Yeah,
picture
I already
of
have
that.
pictures of it.
Yep.
I like that idea. I do think it's cool too, though, that we need to like kind of scale it down into the little victories
Yeah.
as well, because it's great to have our vision board, but like it says in here, like to get to our specific goal, right? So we need to have those little visuals, have whatever's going to motivate you to stay on track to reach that little goal, which in the long run leads to your big goals with your book.
I do look at these, sorry, real quick. I look at these sometimes and say, is what I'm doing today getting me closer or further from this goal or this goal?
Yeah,
And not necessarily writing down small ones, although that's a part of what to do as well, but just
Yeah.
keeping those big goals in mind, say, am I getting closer to it or not? And if I'm not getting closer, is it worth doing?
you need to realign
Yeah.
some energy.
Yep.
Yeah,
Right.
that's great. It says, so this is a reflecting one. Reflect on your professional journey. How have you personally channeled your intense desires or ambitions into meaningful accomplishments or milestones? So with this, you'll want to pick an accountability partner, but even us as a team, those in this room, I think we should each do it. In here, it'll say, have a little spot for you to write down, what do you feel inspired to take action on? What is your declaration? And what is your plan to achieve your declaration? That's normally with our mastermind, but I think each of us should do that with our 90-day goal as well. So our last 90-day sprint of the year, and we should go out with a bang. So
Hoot hoot.
with that, go and read the chapter in Think and Grow Rich, because it's very detailed and descriptive about energies, and that's what it is. It's how you're going to use the energies that's within each of us, right? We have ambitions, we have energy, and however we're channeling that, and what are you going to do with it? So we all have a choice. So that is my little bit on transmutation.
Awesome. Power clap for Lauren on 3. 1, 2, 3.